If you are a woman and you have women friends, it's important that before you call someone your friend or even a family member, it's important that you evaluate all of the women in your life in two different scenarios to see if they are trustworthy or if they're more of a fair weather person. And those two different scenarios are women with a man and women without a man if they are heterosexual. If not, women with a partner and women without a partner if they're not. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. I have been counseling men and women who have been victims and perpetrators of abuse for many years now. And one of the things I definitely wanted to talk about in this particular post is male-centered women and how we go through our life and sort of evaluating, a woman's ability to show up for us if you are a woman, and switch the roles wherever necessary. However, again, I want to talk about male-centeredness, and it's important that you evaluate women in your life in two different scenarios, women with a man and women without a man, because depending on the time in which you connect with a person, I don't care if this is your mother, I don't care if this is your sister, I don't care if this is an aunt or a grandmother, depending on the time in your life and when you connect with these women may be two different people depending on when you are connected with them. So a woman with a man may show up differently in your world than she does when she is without a man. There can be a drastic shift in personality and or presence depending on whether or not there is a man in her life. An example of this would be a woman, you may meet a girlfriend, and both of you meet at a time when you're single. And, while both of you are single, you and that woman, you may go traveling, you may, visit all the restaurants, you may laugh and kiki and have the greatest of times. But the minute she gets a boyfriend or is dating a man, all of her attention shifts and she drops you like a bad habit. And the reason that she drops you like a bad habit is because you are a placeholder, and you were just something to entertain her until she found, what she really wanted, which was a love interest. And the minute she found that, she no longer has any sort of use for you. And so you have served your purpose and you may not hear from her again. If her and that man choose to live happily ever after, you may never hear from her again. She may not be responsive to your messages, or she may only contact you when he's available. So if he's not available, then she may be able to go out for coffee and drinks or something like that. But the minute he becomes available, she's no longer available to you, and she cannot show up fully as your friend. The other thing, another scenario may be with a parent. So you may have a mother, right, that is maybe loving and kind to you and show up for you as a mother while she's married or while there is a man in her life that is a father figure. So some mothers are also very fair weather too. They can sort of change with the wind depending on the man that they have in their life. The man that they have in their life can determine whether or not they have children, whether they even like children or they want a family, and so on and so forth. So an example of this would be a mom who's married and she's married to a man that clearly wants to have kids and have a family. Well, let's just say they go along for 5 or 6 years and they have 2 or 3 children, and happy as a clam until that man or happens to leave the marriage. Either he gets a girlfriend or he no longer wants to be married to your mother. And so they get a divorce, and after that you start to see a shift in how your mother shows up for you as a child. She may start to show up as hateful, vengeful and not liking her children at all, and being very disappointed in the fact that she stuck with you all and that you all have become a burden. She only wanted you in an effort to keep a man or make the man that she was with happy. And now that that man is gone, you guys are a reminder that that relationship failed and she is no longer where she wants to be. And so that may look like a mother who starts to lash out at her children, will drop her children off at somebody else's house and not come back to get them for days, weeks, months, or maybe even years at a time, right? Or a mother that is performative. And so she, while her and your father may get divorced, she may get another boyfriend, and that boyfriend wants to have a family. So she may show back up and be a performative mother when the man in her life wants to have a family. But if the man in her life chooses that he does not want a family, you may find yourself you may find yourselves in a situation very similar to what we see on the Investigation Discovery Channel, right? Where mothers, trigger warning, off their children, or neglect their children, or abandon their children, or abuse their children in other horrible ways. Examples like Susan Smith come to mind. In the Susan Smith case, her boyfriend, or the man that she was seeing, did not want to have children. And guess how her children ended up? As a result of the man that she was seeing not wanting to have children. And she thought if she could get rid of her children, then she could have the man that she wanted to see. So it's most likely, I would not be surprised if the man that she was married to prior to her boyfriend wanted children, and she was fine as long as that man and she were together, and he wanted children, so she wanted children. But the minute that man was gone and another man came along and said, I don't want kids, bingo, presto, she made her kids disappear literally. And so, women like this are very, very dangerous. Women, I tell you guys this all the time, they're male-centered. They are very dangerous to be around. But sometimes you don't realize a woman is male-centered until a man shows up in her life. And sometimes women could be male-centered and still be in a relationship with a man they don't like. So I would even say there could be a change up when a man shows up that they actually like, that spark and things like that. They're going to show up very differently, and the change up will be crazy. So always remember to evaluate the women that you have in your life in those two different scenarios, with a man and without a man, because unfortunately the differences can be a very stark difference, and that's going to tell you whether or not your relationship with that woman, including your own mother, will stand the test of time. Because sometimes these women only want to be around you when it benefits them, but until the right circumstances present themselves, you don't know what the true representation of that person is like. So time will tell, circumstances will tell, and again, the condition of man present or not will tell also. Also, a third bonus round for you to evaluate that woman and whether or not your friendship can stand the test of time. Watch how that woman reacts when you have a man who is interested in you. If she flips her shit, flips her lid, and cannot, there's all this competition, there's all this jealousy, there's all this humbling, that she's trying to do to you, then she has a competition with you that maybe you never knew about until a man presented himself, right? There's a jealousy, there's an envy there. So that's also another factor. This can also apply to your mother, your sister, your grandmother, your aunts, any other woman in your life as well. So be mindful and, check those circumstances. Like, comment, follow, and share if this has been helpful. Thank you so much.